So, Rob Huff, a record 10th pole position this morning for the Macau Guia Race, and the most winning driver at Macau is looking for the record 10th win at Macau at the Gear circuit, alongside the number 55 car of Ma Qinghua. A famous driver indeed, Ma Qinghua, and heading into this final meeting of the year, very much a battle in the TCR China Championship. Ma Qinghua, 139 points heading into this final meeting. Rodolfo Avia, 131 points, and Ma Qinghua qualifying second in the Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co Motorsport entered car. Just having a look at the number 9 car of Rodolfo Avia, second in the championship, 131 points heading into this very important weekend, but still relaxed enough to afford a wave to the camera. Henry Lee Jr. next on the grid. Team New Faster Audi TCR. Another one of the Teamwork cars. Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co. number 29 car. It's a car of Sonny Wong. Sonny Wong, a driver that knows what it's like to win here at Macau. And then the number 22 car of Yan Chirk Wai, another one of the MG X-Power cars. TCR China, the very, very intense championship, plenty at stake in this part of the world. Lee Si-ho and the Maximum Racing Honda is next. Number 1 car of Eurico de Jesus, the Mac Pro Racing Team Honda Civic Type R. Another one of the Macau drivers featuring this weekend, part of the Macau Guia Race 68, is James Tang Chi-lun in the Team TRC Honda Civic Type R, and the number 93 car alongside, it's a car of Ryan Wong Chun Hao in the Mac Pro Racing Team Honda Civic Type R. Gives us a thumbs up. Plenty of air in these cars. Not too warm and sticky today as we look at the number 3 car of Yang Shi, the Champ Motorsport Audi, and then the orange Cupra of Wong Kian Ken. Car number 8 does allow a wave to the cameras, and a look at the number 23 car of Zhang Han Biao, the Audi RS3. Thumbs up for the camera. Number 18, Shang Dong in another one of the MG X-Power cars. And the number 45 car of Yu Long, Team Endless Alfa Romeo Giulietta TCR. Keeping the Alfa Romeo fans happy. At least there's one Alfa Romeo on the grid. Car number 7, Wong Kian Quen, the Elegant Racing Team Cupra, car number 8. And the number 6 car of To Bao Long, New Faster Audi, next on the grid. So all of the glamour for the Macau Grand Prix. It's always here in abundance as the final countdown gives clearance for the BMW safety car to head off around the circuit to just leave the competition cars on track. Grid being cleared of the team personnel as well in the final countdown. But let's get back to thoughts on Rob Huff. in the MG X-Power as we look at the number 19 car of Hu Heng, the Audi RS3, because Rob Huff drove the MG X-Power car yesterday. He is the champion in Scandinavia this year, so another championship title to his already very rich history. Kevin Lamb, car number 35, TA Motorsport VW Golf GTI. And Rob Huff drove the MG X-Power car yesterday for the very first time, stepping into this meeting as the well-known King of Macau, and he has just one target for the weekend, and that is to equal the number on his car, number 10, and take 10 wins here at Macau on the Guia circuit. Taking one win is extraordinary enough. To take 10 of them is beyond extraordinary. Looking at 33, Michael Wong in the Z-Speed Audi RS3. But that's what Rob Huff is going for. He was exemplary during qualifying this morning. Really did. He does get himself in an incredibly strong mental position before attacking the circuit at Macau. And he says quite clearly that the circuit just seems to invite you in to push more and more on each lap. Quite extraordinary and very, very impressive. So too is the field. That's Huang Chu in the team new faster Audi, Huang Chu Han. And look at that field with Rob Huff on pole position alongside the car of Ma Xinhua in the Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co Motorsport car, heading the TCR China Championship, heading into this final meeting of the year. Run right the way down the order of the grid that we've just seen the drivers in their preparations for this 8-lap race around Macau. What's at stake? An awful lot if you are competing in TCR China with Ma Xinhua, 139 points, Rodolfo Avila, 131. Heading into this final meeting of the year. And Rob Huff, 9-time winner here at Macau, and the potential to make that 10 wins at Macau is really quite exceptional. Will that be the indication, the number he's running on the MG this weekend, of the number of wins that he will have accumulated here at Macau? Time will tell. Final countdown. Few personnel involved with the starting of the cars are invited to leave the grid, leave the drivers very much on their own with their thoughts and their visualizations before the race can get underway. The history of Rob Huff here at Macau is exemplary. Claimed his World Touring Car Championship title here at Macau in fine style in 2012, and this year, as we say, he's already a champion in Scandinavia. And so the scene is set for the 8-lap race, the qualification race for the Macau Guia Race for the 67th edition of the Macau Grand Prix. And the cars head the way off to get the cars prepared, get the tyres up to temperature, what a fantastic field it is. Great to have assembled. The thinking that has gone into putting this meeting together is quite exceptional. We've got Formula 4 cars that we're just hearing in the press conference are ideally suited to the Macau circuit, and hearing how good they are in the uphill section, in the mountain section of the track, and then to get the cars from TCR China here to Macau as well, with the exceptionally well supported TCR cars forming a very impressive grid for their final meeting of the year. So they head around the circuit, getting themselves ready for an 8-lap qualification race. Points at stake this weekend, of course, in the championship, and a point to be made by Rob Huff that he can get into double figures. Quite extraordinary idea that he could get into double figures of wins at the Macau Guia circuit. Is this going to be the time that Rob Huff celebrates 10 at Macau? We shall see. Up towards Police. They turn into Police, the familiar MG livery on a touring car, the black and green livery. Important brand in this part of the world, in Macau. The MG brand, so too the Lincoln Co. of Ma Chinhua on the outside of the front row of the grid. That's beautifully presented Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co. Motorsport Lincoln Co. Rob Huff leads the field around the Melco hairpin, set after qualifying last year on pole position. The amount he feels that he can push onto, it scares him around the Guia circuit here at Macau, but he can't do anything else than do what he tells himself to do, and it just invites him to go quicker and quicker and more committed on every lap. You might think that was a lap as committed as you could possibly be, and then he shows even more commitment on the following lap. Fantastic to watch. 40 years old now is the Brit, Rob Huff, and he and Ma Chinhua doing their best to get as much heat into the tyres at the front of the field as they can. Synchronised weaving there from the top two. Around the formation lap they go, and then we will get our qualification race for the Macau Guia Race underway. Up towards the grid spots they come. Last minute jink to the right hand side of the circuit for Rob Huff in the MG. Up towards pole position. 10 times pole position here at Macau. Up towards the line next to P1, Ma Chinhua. Second on the grid, third on the grid. The car of Felipe de Souza went quickest first thing yesterday morning in free practice. Bear in mind also in that free practice session, Rob Huff was third quickest, his first time in the car. Quite unbelievable. There's the grid as it lines up. 8 laps in prospect for the qualification race for the Macau Guia Race, and the last couple of cars come into view. Herwei Hang in the VW Golf TCR to the right of your screen at the back of the field, and then a long way to look forward to the front of the grid with 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Wait until they go out and we get this 8-lap race underway. Out they go. Who's going to get the best of the starts? Everyone trying to make a manoeuvre. Has Rob Huff got the better of the starts, or is it Marcin Hua who has got the better of the starts? I fancy it might have been Marcin Hua. Yes, it is. So the Lincoln Co. ahead of the MG of Rob Huff. Rob Huff having a look on the outside, and Felipe de Souza is there as well, also having got off the line. But he needs to keep his eyes in the mirrors for Lincoln Co's that are all ganging up behind. But Rob Huff gets in front of Marcin Hua and down towards Lisboa to, oh dear, and we have a multiple problem there with a number of cars, so they are going to get an interruption to the race before they've really even got started. However, I say that, so what was it? Well, one car loses it, a bash into the barrier, a spin and avoidance, and into the barrier, and then multiple collections going on. Coming off the worst of that was Wang Qing Hung in the number 12 car. The Team TRC Honda. I think that one potentially the most damaged of the cars, but quite a few of those cars I think will be able to. Oh, and there was a Lisboa moment as well, so MG's getting involved at Lisboa. Rob Huff and Marcin Hua. Meanwhile, although they've seen the safety car boards and they know that this is a pretty regular occurrence at Macau, that you need to get cars recovered, and therefore you need a safety car intervention. So they know what they're doing. They know that they'll get this race underway, but I think a few of the cars will just be able to extricate themselves and get on their way on their own steam. Maybe one or two of them will require assistance to get clear on the circuit. Through the hairpin for the first time. Of course, all the laps will count. As indeed we saw in the qualification race for the F3 race just now. There was plenty of opportunity behind the safety car. And now, once again, the BMW, the 2, picks up the field. Heading onto lap number 2. Waiting for the timing screen to update from the F3 race as well. So still showing our race order from the finishing positions for the Formula 4 Macau Grand Prix race, which just preceded the touring car race. But very clearly you can see Rob Huff, Marcin Hua, Felipe de Souza, Zhangju Chang at the front of the field, top 4 cars. Behind the BMW, keeps a perfect straight line in the centre of the circuit. Everybody else weave, generate heat, retain heat, and get ready for the restart whenever that may appear. So we'll wait for the view of the incident when the very, very healthy field spread their way through onto lap 2 of the race. And that's the incident. So we thought that one or two of them would require a lift to recover. One of those is going to be the number 53 car of Ng Chi Lung, Mike Ng, the Champ Motorsport Volkswagen Golf GTI. That car will require a lift and quite a bit of sweeping to take place as well. And the number 12 car of Wang Qing Hung, that car requiring a lift as well. The Team TRC Honda. So Rob Huff, it is that leads in car number 10, and another example. So number 99 hit the brakes, Ryan Wong, in avoidance, in anticipation of not hitting them, and the car spun. So multiple collections in that incident. As the field head through Teddy Ip, the left-hander, all on the left-hand side, through the mountain section, through the Solitude S's. Way will go. Maternity is the right-hander there. This right into the Solitude S's, the right, left, and left of the Solitude S's, and then back towards the front of the field with the safety car and Rob Huff, Martin Kwan, Felipe de Souza, and thanks to the timing departments. Online timing screen back up to date, updates itself, and as soon as the safety car comes in, once the circuit is clear of cars and also swept and ready to go, then we'll get the race back underway. What a great field it is, and also hugely exciting for the culmination of what has been a difficult year for any championship anywhere in the world to get to the finale. British Touring Car Championship came to a conclusion last weekend at Brands Hatch, and a big board was walked down the centre of the final grid saying, "We made it, thank you everyone," coming from the boss of the championship, Alan Gow, reflecting just how nice it was to get to the end of a championship year in the circumstances with which the world has found itself this year is exceptional, and so too exceptional to be here in Macau for this festival of motorsport, this showcase of motorsport excellence in this part of the world. And they will rise to the occasion in a splendid style tomorrow for their 12-lap races. Macau Touring Car Cup, the Greater Bay Area GT Cup, the Macau Guia Race, the Macau GT Cup Race. We've got their qualification race to come up this afternoon. And then all the build-up to the Macau Grand Prix. Special event, we'll see a collection of classic cars and BMW M-Town and Harley Davidsons on the circuit. The Lion Dance, which is the traditional dance of good luck ahead of the Formula 4 Macau Grand Prix. And then the Grand Prix itself, 3:30 tomorrow afternoon, local time in Macau. Weather-wise, it's been a little different today to free practice day. Yesterday, sunny and 27, 28 degrees. A little cooler today, 24. Threat of rain earlier on in the day didn't materialise, but we have a fair bit of work to be done to get the circuit ready to go. Clearing up fluid are the many, many marshals that are working down. They do such a fantastic job here at Macau to get things ready to race again. They very, very diligently and quickly get on with the task in hand to get racing back underway. 2 laps completed now, and we haven't really had a racing lap. Rob Huff, Marcin Hua, Felipe de Souza, Zhangju Chang, top 4, Sunny Wong, up into the top 5, 5th place for Sunny Wong, former winner of the Macau Touring Car Cup here at Macau. Behind the safety car, the field being led by Rob Huff in the MG, a car he's only driven for the first time yesterday here at Macau. Safety car has still got the lights on. They are on lap number 3. Just going through and completing sector 2. They've completed. They'll be completing sector 3 very soon as they go through police up towards Moorish. Through Moorish they go. Rob's still weaving the MG from side to side. It's interesting as well that Rob would be driving in an MG this weekend, albeit the MG X-Power, very important brand in this region of the world. But Rob, when he first got into touring cars and started making a name for himself, competing in the World Touring Car Championship, on the weekends that he wasn't, and the weekends that he could go racing lad dad with his father Peter, he was still competing in his old MGB at various club racing meetings in the UK. Proper racer is Rob Huff. I don't think he still races the MG, but certainly enjoys events like the Goodwood events, the Goodwood Revival, and the opportunity to get into a car that he can really attack and hang the back out and drive the car. Rob Huff, a racer's racer, I think it's fair to say. 9-time winner here at Macau, looking for win number 10 in 2020. Three laps completed now. Not a single racing lap completed thus far. It was the case a few years ago here at Macau when we had TCR cars here at Macau for the Guia Race, that we did have an unusually large number of incidents. It's not unusual to have incidents, but we did have a weekend a few years ago when incidents really did take away from the racing for the Guia Race, because they didn't really get too many racing laps in. There was a number of incidents as the weekend wore on, which is in part kind of predictable when you have such a full and healthy grid and tight, demanding circuit. Some would say it could be a little inevitable that the cars are rather second-hand by the end of a weekend racing at Macau. Welcome along. If you've just joined us, you join us on qualifying day for the 67th running of the Macau Grand Prix. We've got at the moment on circuit the qualification race for the Macau Guia Race. Final round of the year for TCR China is battling out here at Macau. The super impressive Shell team like Lincoln Co Motorsports team, with the rather famous driver Ma Chin-hua in the number 55 car, qualified second yesterday, running in second briefly on the start of the race, able to get the better of the 9-time winner here at Macau. But by the time they got down to Lisboa, Rob Huff was having none of it. Bear in mind also that for Ma Chin-hua, the points available this weekend are vitally important. For Rob Huff, the championship he was competing in, already complete, already crowned champion. So Rob Huff here for really two reasons as far as I can see this weekend. One is to get that elusive 10th win at Macau, and another is because he absolutely loves the place. Really does enjoy the challenge of succeeding on the gear circuit at Macau. So we're under safety car for the qualification race. It's an 8-lap race. We've got 3 laps in the book. They're going to be completing half distance at the end of this lap. And all of them have been behind the safety car. The safety car now peels off and they are back and racing at Macau. Rob Huff, Ma Chin-hua, across the line they go, and Rob Huff has got the pedal down very nicely indeed. Great restart for Rob Huff as we go racing. Keep an eye in the background and see if everybody has managed to get through okay. I fancy they have. Go through Mandarin, down towards Lisboa, and with the marshals having worked very, very hard indeed to get racing back underway. We now do have a race underway because Felipe de Souza and Zhang Ju Chang contesting that final podium position. Lincoln Co just having a look at the back of the Audi of Felipe de Souza, number 26 car. Topped the times first thing yesterday morning in free practice 1. Able to fend off the challenging second Lincoln Co in that battle at the front of the field. And Rob Huff has really got the best of the restarts because he's already been able to put a little bit of a gap. Was that a glance at the barrier for Felipe de Souza? Might just have incorrectly seen that. It did look like a little puff of something as he went through the corner. Rob Huff in the MG into police, the right-hander, and watch him coming out of Moorish. Always very committed at the exit of the corner. Sets him up well for the run down towards Donna Maria, the run up towards the Melco hairpin, so we can begin to get a bit of pace. And another multiple incident, the number 9 MG of Rodolfo Avia, and that is going to be very, very costly for the man that runs second in the championship this weekend in TCR China. Rob Huff continues on his way at the front of the field and presses on to complete now 5 laps, 3 laps to go in this qualification race for the Macau Guia Race, and a red flag. So the race being red flagged for the incident which has taken place. 51 is Henry Lee Jr. Completely blocked the circuit. Down at San Francisco, the whole field queuing up behind this incident down there, bar the handful of cars that you see there, headed by Rob Huff, Marcin Hua, Felipe de Souza, and 4 more cars have all come through and avoided that incident, but the red flag has come out. That's stopped the race. Half distance for this race, and with those cars blocking the circuit, the requirement made to clear the track without racing conditions, get everyone through, and that number 9 stricken car of Rodolfo Avia in the MG X-Power is a very, very sad sight to see in terms of the prospects for the weekend and the points for the weekend. Rob Huff makes his way very, very slowly in a red flag situation. Marcin Hua, and that's been quite a damaging incident down at San Francisco, requiring all the field to come through before they can think about getting the circuit clear at the corner. That was quite a queue through Lisboa. Go the top few cars underneath the red flag. I did say it was down at San Francisco. I think I've identified that wrong, where the cars are off. I will correct myself before too long, but the top cars have just been through San Francisco. Marshals all the way around the circuit will be displaying the red flags. No one can be left in any doubt that the race is being stopped and potentially will be restarted for the remaining half of the race. Cars back to pit lane, including the number 51 car involved in that incident of Henry Lee Jr. It is an opportunity for the teams to make any repairs to cars that may be required as everybody heads into pit lane. Fair bit of the circuit for the lead cars to complete before they can think about being down here in pit lane. So huge entry in the Macau Guia Race this weekend. 33 cars in total. Take the start for the qualification race. And Rob Huff, Marcin Hua and Felipe de Souza up towards Police and Moorish. Must feel very, very slow with a red flag out, and these cars that are capable of really pushing on the gear circuit, doing absolutely the right thing, and down pretty much at brisk walking pace, being led by Rob Huff in the number 10 MG. Most winning driver here in touring cars, 9 wins. Wants that record elusive 10. Running as number 10 this weekend. And you get the chance to see, as the cars make their way around the circuit, some of the beauty of Macau away from the racing. These are the streets of Macau, a circuit that bustles with nightlife and beauty, and it offers this rare opportunity for this celebration of motorsport that is the Macau Grand Prix weekend. Running a little behind now. The race got underway a little late, and now a little bit more time is added to the day as we have a red flag for the Macau Guia Qualification Race. We have yet to come the Macau GT Cup qualifying race. 8 laps in prospect for the final race of the day. Circuit will be opened at 6 o'clock local time tonight, and 9 o'clock tomorrow morning local time is when we can look forward to our first race of our 5-race program tomorrow. All the races 12 laps tomorrow, starting with the Macau Touring Car Cup, Greater Bay Area GT Cup, 2 of the local support races, and then the Guia Race, Macau Guia Race, for the touring cars that you see currently battling it out for their qualification 8-lap race, Macau GT Cup Race, and the Formula 4 Macau Grand Prix. All of it coming up tomorrow here at Macau. And under red flag conditions we are now. Very busy pit lane at the moment, and now the lead cars have arrived down in pit lane. It's ironic, isn't it? When you're out on circuit, you want everything up to temperature. Come into pit lane, you need everything cooled down because you have. So both drivers and machines being kept cool with leaf blowers down in pit lane. Opportunity to see into the car and see the concentration, the eyes of Huffy inside the MGX Power. I was very pleased to have been here at Macau in 2012 to witness his securing the World Touring Car Championship title here at Macau, and really the legend continues. The relationship between Rob Huff and Macau. Aha, so I did incorrectly identify it. It was at Moorish corner. My apologies. So often it catches out drivers at Moorish. We've said that from the start of activity yesterday here for the 2020 Macau Grand Prix, and it's unfortunately caught out the touring cars, and one of the rather unfortunate recipients of that incident, Rodolfo Avia from Macau in the MGX Power, the now rather damaged number 9 car. So the race being stopped halfway through. It was under safety car, pretty much had been under safety car. We've not completed one full racing lap without an intervention of safety car. Number 7 car being pulled to one side, that's Yan Tren, the VW Golf TCR. Number 6 car to Bao Long. Rob Huff, number 10, down pit lane to get back out on the circuit. So, fingers crossed that now we're clear up at Moorish, we can potentially get the second parts of the race underway. 4:21 local time in the afternoon. Once the light starts to go at Macau, it goes in pretty impressively quick time. And the graphic indicating on screen we are under the formation lap. And we were looking at the lead car, Kenneth Liu, who hit the wall yesterday in free practice. But, it's not a formation lap in any usual form of a formation lap until Rob Huff leads the field out onto the circuit. So those cars need to make their way around, and then they will be able to get things back underway. So those cars need to form up at the back of the cars down in pit lane, being headed by Rob Huff, car number 10, and Ma Qinhua in the 55 car. If you don't know the history of Ma Qinhua, British Formula 3 Championship back in 2009, Super League Formula China Touring Car Championship, won that in 2011, 2012 and 2013. F1 test driver with HRT Caterham, onto the FIA World Touring Car Championship, Formula E as well. A very, very experienced driver and currently leading in TCR China. Impressive driver is Ma Qinhua from China, 32 years of age, from Shanghai in China. That's where he was born. And that's the number 5 car making his way around. Ui Fan, 326 Racing Team Audi. So the logistics of getting the Macau Guia Race qualification race back underway. It's a bit of a challenge. But, once they're all lined up in the correct order, then the graphic for a formation lap will be perhaps a little more correct. So Ui Fan leading Yu Long, Team Endless Alfa Romeo. 61 Lin Chi in one of the many Lincoln Co's that we've got competing here at Macau this weekend. And those 6 cars joined by 2 more in the distance to complete this lap and join on to the back of the cars down in pit lane that line up for the restart, to get the cars in the correct order to get this race back underway. It's a qualification race for the Macau Guia Race, famous race here at Macau. First enjoyed here at Macau in 1972. For a goodly while, Andy Priaulx was known to wrap up a title in the World Touring Cars here at Macau. Won here again last year, did Andy Priaulx in the Guia Race, 3rd of our touring car races last year for the WTCR Championship. So Andy Priaulx gets his name on the spoils of victory here at Macau in 2006, 2007, and again in 2019. But Rob Huff's relationship with the Guia circuit is spectacular. 2008 took a win, 2009 took a win, 2010, 2011, 2013, 2014, 2017. Did I miss out 2015? I might have done. 9 wins in total here at Macau on the gear circuit. Really quite an exceptional feat. So through the Melco hairpin, they thread their way around. Apologies, this is taking a little while to get things reorganised, to get the race back underway, and they will be extremely mindful of the hour here at Macau, 4:27. When it does get dark, certainly by 6 o'clock at this time of year, it is getting pretty dark. So those cars that have made their way around the circuit will now get the indication with the red flag and the arrow as well to form up in pit lane. And once they do, we will get the word with all cars to pit lane, the indication from race control coming up on the screen. Number 45 car, Alfa Romeo of Yu Long. Just trying to hear the paddock announcement in the background. Couldn't quite hear it to bring it to you. So the sole representation of Alfa Romeo. Wouldn't really be a touring car race if we didn't have an Alfa Romeo, and we have, which is jolly good news for Alfa Romeo fans around the world. It's the number 45 car of Yu Long. So everybody's now in pit lane, I think, and with the leaf blowers working to provide a bit of airflow around brakes and around the cars down in pit lane, although they will have been cooling down for some time. I think we've now got all the cars back into pit lane. As far as the race is concerned, we've had 4 laps in total, and as Rob knows very well indeed, with these delays that we can potentially get with racing at Macau, the important thing is to remain focused, remain in the zone to get the race back underway at any point that it's indicated that that can happen. There's quite a lot of air being circulated on drivers because they'll be getting pretty warm inside the car. Currently 23 degrees here at Macau. Henry Jr.'s helmet on the roof of the car. One of the cars involved in the incident we've just seen that caused the red flag to come out. And that's Ma Ching Hua in the 55 Lincoln Co., the crack team, the Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co. Motorsport team. Very important team in this part of the world. Teamwork really are a team that do things to a quite excellent standard in motorsport. Ma Xinhua leading the TTR China Championship heading into this weekend is rather good proof of that. So for the qualification race for the Macau Guia Race, time is standing still for a little while, although it's not. It's just gone 4:30 in Macau, and we have completed half distance in the qualification race for the Macau Guia Race. That will come up tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning in fact, end of the morning. Third race of the day, 11:40 tomorrow morning. And what a fantastic event this is. Still, crowds are able to enjoy this celebration. As we down in pit lane, we can see Lo Si Ho in the Maximum Racing Honda Civic Type R. Chance to see a few more of the cars. Made in Hong Kong, it says on the back window. And, quite a bit of attention goes into the presentation of the cars, and the hope that those presentations get the chance to reach a global audience, which they most certainly will this weekend. So with this break in proceedings, chance for the drivers to get a little air inside the cars. They do tend to heat up quite quickly, and that's the number 21 car of Ivan Cito, the Maximum Racing Honda Civic Type R TCR. Number 1, Eureka de Jesus in the Macau Racing Team Honda Civic Type R. In fact, to run down the order of all the cars that are queuing up in pit lane: Ryan Wong in the Macau Racing Team Honda. Next, the number 8 car of Ken Wong, Wong Kian Kwan, the Elegant Racing Team Cupra. Number 3, Yang Shei in the Champ Motorsport Audi RS3. A forward to wave to the camera. Chang Han Biao, the Audi RS3. Number 99. That's He Wei Hang in the Volkswagen Golf GTI, and then the number 66 car of Un King Wen, the SLM Racing Team Audi RS3. Ui Fan, number 5, the 326 Racing Team Audi RS3. Next in line is Yu Long, Team Endless Alfa Romeo Giulietta TCR. 3 minutes. 3 minutes until we get the second half of the race back underway. Just had a look at the orange machine of Kenneth Look, who has had a repaired car between yesterday and today. Straps down, tighten the straps, Huffy. You're going racing again at Macau. Remember, how could you forget? 9 times a winner at Macau, and about to complete 4 more laps of the Guia circuit for a 9-time winner. So the 3-minute countdown was just given over the public address system down in the paddock, and that means very soon cars will set off around the circuit to form up and get the second part of this qualification race for the Macau Guia Race underway. And it was at the start a jolly good battle between Rob Huff and Ma Chin-hua, and also the number 26 car of Felipe de Souza, the Macau driver. Safety car will lead the field out in just a few moments. All those that are able to restart, I think, should be pretty much ready to go. The warning board being given down in pit lane, 1 minute board. So Rob strapped in, ready to lead out of pit lane in the MG. The MG6 X-Power TCR that he only drove for the first time yesterday here at Macau. Really pretty impressive stuff, that, to, in that first free practice session in the car, finish up in 3rd place. And then in free practice 2, getting that much more commitment once he knew what the car was going to do, and topping the times in free practice 2, topping the times this morning in qualifying over 20 minutes, and currently leading at the halfway point in the qualification race for the Macau Guia Race tomorrow. Marshall standing by with the 32nd board, but that's gone. Cars are underway now to get back out on track and get the second half of this qualification race. Over 8 laps here at Macau underway. Number 28 being indicated to pull quickly to one side in the cold pit lane, car 28, and then rejoin the queue of cars. Quite sure what that was about, to pull the car over. There must have been a very good reason to get Lo Si Ho, the Maximum Racing Honda Civic Type R, out the way and then back into contention. And down pit lane they all stream now to hopefully get some good racing laps underway in the resumption of this race. So all that hard work of getting the heat into the tyres, brakes and all the mechanics of the car up to temperature, that all needs to be done again. And that's exactly what they're doing, being led by Rob Huff and Ma Chin-hua behind the BMW safety car. Felipe de Souza just behind. 36 car is Zhang Zhushang in the second of those Shell Teamwork Lincoln Co Motorsport Lincoln Co TCR cars. Third of them is that car, the number 29 car of Sonny Wong, who knows what it's like to stand on the top step of the podium here at Macau. The 2018 Macau Touring Car Cup champion and the 2018 TCR China champion. Hasn't done any racing this year, but for obvious reasons, but is able to join in this celebration of motorsport at Macau. And why would you not? A great opportunity when the word was given that this meeting was confirmed in the format that it is. Huge amount of interest instantly for being able to take part in what many would say is one of the greatest spectacles in motorsport around the world here at Macau. Fantastic part of the world to visit. If you haven't already done so, well worth at some stage in the future putting it in the diary to come to the Macau Grand Prix and explore a little around the area as well. It is a unique part of the world, a thoroughly enjoyable experience. So they thread their way once again through the middle two sections on the circuit, being led around by the BMW safety car and Rob Huff and Martin Hua. The safety car will lead one more lap, is the indication from race control. The safety car will lead one more lap. BMW heading down from the Macau hairpin, single file of course, through this ever-present yellow flag zone on the gear circuit. And the important business now, as the circuit widens and opens up, to try and generate as much heat as they possibly can in the rubber and get themselves ready for start of the second part of this race. Restart effectively after the red flag. Rob using as much of the tarmac as he can to generate some heat, so too Martin Hua. Through our bend, the final turn on the circuit, and we've already had that indication from race control that they will do one more lap behind the safety car. And with that in mind, the light's still on the top of the BMW safety car. Down through turn one at Reservoir. On now the wide run towards the extremely brave corner at Macau. One of the reasons why drivers find this circuit such a challenge. It's got so many different elements all contained within one lap, and the very, very fast Mandarin, when as they go through this borough and overtaking opportunity, and San Francisco, the start of the climb up through the very twisty part of the circuit. It really is a circuit that has got pretty much everything. Years ago, there were some local chaps in Macau, and they had arranged to put together a treasure hunt, and they got an experienced driver, one of their friends, to come along and have a look at it, and said, I'm not sure about a treasure hunt, I think you've got a Grand Prix. And that was the birth of the Macau Grand Prix. And still, 67 years later, we enjoy the spectacle of the Macau Grand Prix at the end of a motor racing season. Lights out on the safety car. That means the BMW is going to pull into pit lane at the end of this lap, and we will get the race back underway for the final meeting of the year for TCR China and the Macau Guia Race. BMW upping the pace a bit now in the 2 Series BMW, the official car BMW of the 67th running of the Macau Grand Prix. Into police and into Moorish. Single file they go. Hopefully as much of the work getting the cars up to temperature has pretty much been done by now. Martin Hua keeping right to the back of Rob Huff, you notice, as they went up towards the approach to Donna Maria. Then up towards the Macau hairpin. Everything slows down. Constantina's up behind Rob Huff in the lead car. The MGX Power MG6. The BMW safety car with the lights ablaze on the top of the car. Heads down towards the completion of this lap. Oh, lights have gone out once again. So lights out, normally indication that the safety car is going to come into pit lane. Briefly those lights went back on, but they're off again now. And Rob Huff weaves the car from side to side. And we are very soon about to get racing back underway at Macau. Rob Huff, Marcin Hua, Felipe de Souza, the top three as they head around the final turn to get racing back underway at Macau. Third place looks as if it might be coming once again under a bit of a challenge. And the Lincoln Co. 36 car of Janjun Chang having a good look at Felipe de Souza that time. We are green flag, we are racing once again at Macau. Rob Huff, it is that leads. Marcin Hua in second place, and a very, very damaged number 35 car of Lam Kar Chun in the TA Motorsport VW. We've got green flags there indicating we are clear to go racing through Lisboa for the first time since the restart. They go. Still, you can see that that third place is very much under a challenge for Felipe de Souza. Needs to keep it very neat and tidy to defend that place early on in the restart. Are we about to see a complete... So that was the cause of the losing of the front bodywork. Looks a lot worse than it actually is, but it was relatively heavy clout for the number 35 car of Lam Kar Chun into the barrier there. Rob Huff leads the way. Marcin Hua in second place. Up through the mountain section, climbing the hill. Rob Huff, this is where he is spectacularly committed on this part of the circuit. Need to be so brave, and he is. And through police, through Moorish, on towards Donna Maria they go on this first lap of the restart. We are, I think, going to get a full racing lap under our belts for the restart through Donna Maria to the Macau hairpin for the first time of asking on this restart. And never seen an indication quite like. According to the time, this is the last lap. Was just displayed on the circuit. Yeah, and the team regard the damage, which is the legacy of hitting the barrier there. And is this going to be a checkered flag? It says final lap, so this may well be win number 10 for Rob Huff in a really quite interrupted race, but we wait to see the number 10 car come across the line, and the checkered flag. It's 10 race wins at Macau for Rob Huff. The 40-year-old Brit has got the number 10 on the car, and he has got 10 wins in the record book at Macau. Might not have predicted that the race would pan out in the way that it did, but Rob Huff is a 10-time winner at Macau. Wow. So, good prediction, having number 10 on the MG this weekend at Macau. For it has happened for Rob Huff, and a brief flash of the headlights on the MG, the car that he only drove for the first time yesterday here at Macau, and that car has taken him to an historic 10th win on the Guia circuit at Macau. So the order, when we got the notification that it was going to be the final lap, Rob Huff takes the win. Marcin Hua, the leader of TCR China, on the second step of the podium, and Felipe de Souza, the Macau driver, will complete the 3 places on the podium in what has been a tricky race to deal with. The first complete full racing lap really taking place on the 1 lap of restart, and that is Rob Huff taking the applause of the marshals around the circuit, and he really is a legend of Macau. Started the racing career in touring cars, won the Seat Cupra Championship in the UK. Part of the prize package for winning the championship was a fully paid up drive in a Seat in the BTCC, the British Touring Car Championship, the following year, and that was just the start of a quite remarkable career in touring cars for Rob Huff. Came back to the touring cars a couple of years ago, made a one-off appearance at Silverstone, finished up on the podium, just reacquainting himself with old friends, been away, won a world championship, won multiple races at Macau, and then came back to see his friends in the BTCC. And now he's a 10-time race winner at Macau for number 10, Rob Huff. So a podium will ensue. Felipe de Souza on the 3rd step of the podium, continuing to wave the flag for Macau this weekend. The Macau driver, Felipe de Souza. Marcin Hua, the leader of TCR China, on the 2nd step. And number 10 takes win number 10 at Macau, Rob Huff. The Brit will be on the top step of the podium here at Macau. Time over in the UK, just approaching 5 minutes to 9 in the morning. Just know that Rob's family will be watching, assuming they're not over in Macau. To mum and dad and sister and the rest of the family, ever-present supporters of the quite extraordinary career of Rob Huff. And he takes the win. The British driver, I couldn't believe it when I was looking through the details yesterday of the drivers. Can't believe that Rob Huff, now 40 years old, and has his birthday on the 25th of December, Christmas Day. So, being 40 ain't that bad, is it, Rob? When it gives you the hard-fought 10th win of your career on the Guia circuit at Macau. The teamwork cars into Parc Fermé as well. And Rob Huff will emerge from the MG, and a little wave, and 10, yes, 10. We get the idea, Rob, thank you. Super. 10 wins on the Guia circuit at Macau. It was going to come last year, and it eluded him. 2 wins for Ivan Muller last year in the 3 races that we had for WTCR, and 1 win for Andy Prio and Rob Wade. So too Marcin Hua and Felipe de Souza, both be weighed in Parc Fermé. Helmets and gloves, all part of the weighing process. Yep, ready, good to go. And off comes the helmet, ready for podium presentation, which will come up in due course. Chance for a quick chat down in Park Fairmate. And there's Huffy. Off has come the balaclava and the helmet, and a hug for the team, and the obligatory face mask, podium cap, and that will complete the housekeeping that needs to take place before they go up into a legend of Macau, and they will very soon go into the main building here at Macau and get ready for the podium presentation with Mr. Pan Wen Kun, President of the Sports Bureau and Coordinator of the Macau Grand Prix Organising Committee. It's done, along with the team, such a supreme job of getting this event underway in 2020, and not only putting the event on, but also inspired choices of how to ensure full grids for the selected races, and inspired choices of TCR China for the Macau Guia Race and for F4 China to represent the Macau Grand Prix. Let's have a look back at the highlights. So that was looking back at the highlights of the qualification race for the Macau Guia Race. That's the podium. It's set and ready to go, with the presentation soon to take place. Mr. Pan Wen Kun, President of the Sports Bureau and Coordinator of the Macau Grand Prix Organising Committee, will make the presentation. Just a moment to Rob Huff, Marcin Hua and Felipe de Souza. So the scene is set, ready to receive the drivers as soon as they make their way up to backstage, which essentially, as you look at the podium, just to the right of your screen, just out of shot from the camera, that's where the drivers will emerge from, through the building and onto that prestigious podium at Macau that Rob Huff has stood on the top step of the podium 9 times before at Macau, and we are going to see the historic 10th time for Rob.
Ladies and gentlemen, our podium for the Macau Guia Race qualification race.
Attention in the paddock. Attention in the paddock. Macau GT cars, the paddock gate is now open. Macau GT cars, the paddock gate is now open.
In third place, from Macau, China, Felipe Clemente de Souza. Congratulations. In second place, from China, number 55, Marcin Hua. And the winner, number 10, Rob Huff from Great Britain. That was a grand reception. And now, ladies and gentlemen, may I have the honor to invite Mr. Poon Wing Kuhn, President of the Sports Bureau and Coordinator of the Macau Grand Prix Organizing Committee, to come forward to present the trophy to the drivers. First to third place driver, local driver Felipe de Souza. And then to second place driver, Ma Qinghua from China. Congratulations. And to our winner of the Macau Guia Race Qualification Race, Rob Huff.
Historic moment that for Rob Huff.
Get closer to the middle for a group photo.
Group photo, and that is a victory pose if ever there was for the Brits.
To our winning drivers again.
And thanks to
one more photo for the 3 winning drivers. Trophies in the air.
Our local commentator providing the
Big thumbs up
backdrop to the podium presentation, and Rob Huff with the trophy high in the air.
Thank you very much.
Well done to all 3 of them. That was the podium, and they will now go off pretty immediately, I think, for a press conference, and we hope that we'll be able to hear from the drivers in the press conference on what was a tricky race, really. No opportunity to get into any kind of groove during that qualification race. Very often it is the way that if the qualification race is a bit challenging in that way, then the Macau Guia Race tomorrow might be pretty much without incident. So let's hope that that's the case, and we can see good racing from the touring cars, because when they are racing around the gear circuit and they can get into the swing, get into a flow, they are spectacular to watch around the Macau circuit. Speaking of spectacular to watch, the next race is going to be for the qualification race for the Macau GT Cup. 8 laps around the circuit for the quite splendid GT3 and GT4 cars. They'll come onto the grid in a few moments. We'll hope that before then we hear the press conference for the qualification race for the Macau Guia Race. All of that coming up.